or they lose the room, which is another way of saying your players don't want to play for you. In management, Brenton, what happens when you lose the room?
Yeah, you're out in your ass pretty quick, and then there's no mention of the other job at the next interview.
IAHN. It's a Hockey Night podcast with your hosts Brenton and Mike.
Episode that's just more depressing comes out every week on Wednesdays, airs at 8:30, and just every week there's a new thing of just like, this is crazier than before. It's like when everyone was really into the whole Tiger thing.
Yeah.
And every episode of that was just more ridiculous. We're just living that now.
No, but at least if I was in Canada, I would be able to look at a glorious looking prince of a prime minister. And instead, I'm in the UK and I'm stuck with Boris Johnson, basically trying to soothe us. And it's not working.
Who was like the one world leader to actually get this.
Right.
Yeah. And almost die from it. Yeah. So that's his credentials. It's like, I got it. I'm surprised he's not just like, I'm surprised he's not like, I got this so I can just run around and do whatever I want now.
I feel like evil is like some kind of pickling like agent, some kind of thing where it just makes you stronger and be able to preserve things. Like, I don't know. It feels like evil people last longer and good people have a very short expiry date.
Yeah, Boris Johnson was the one that was there when the leaving of the EU. Like, I was there when they were doing the debates for the leaving EU, and like the other guy was like, "Yeah, we shouldn't do it because it's dumb," and like had all these actual reasons of why they shouldn't do it. And then Boris Johnson was just like, "England's great, and we'll figure it out." And so everyone voted for that. And now, yeah,
it like flashback to high school. Like when they have the elections for student body president, and somebody's like, "You do like do," and the other guy's like, "McDonald's for everyone."
McDonald's I'm gonna cancel homework. I like this way this guy goes.
I'm gonna get Beyonce to play at prom.
Well, I guess since you're in the UK, I will ask you. We'll obviously get into hockey stuff and the joking around, but what is the landscape right now in London? Because last episode we kind of had to touch on some a bit more serious subjects, unfortunately, because we would rather just be joking around. But obviously, the way that things have gone the last fortnight. But what's it all like in London at the moment, or England?
Well, to be honest, I'm about 20 minutes outside of London by train, so it's not too far. But it feels like another world because there's just a lot more space and greenery, and you're spread out. And I have not been watching. I don't have television, so the only way I get information is on Twitter and like YouTube.
That's not a good place.
So I'm more up to date on what's happening in, say, like Canada than I am in the UK, except for my Canadian relatives who keep sending me like a death count for what's happening in UK. And I'm like, is the death count happening outside my window? Because if it's not, then I don't know what you want me to do about it.
But like London is that one thing where like you could go 10 minutes up the road and you're in a whole different like suburb or county or whatever they call them, and everyone has a different accent there, and it's like you crossed a country's borders, and the rules are all different, and it is really that like you can just be 20 minutes away from like where the chaos is and just be like, yeah, it's fine, I'm on the countryside.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I have friends that live in New York, and then I have friends that live like in London in the city, and they're like, you can't ignore it here. Because there's sirens going off. There's like literally ambulances going off all the time. So I can't even imagine. I feel like somebody's playing a practical joke on me, right? Like they're like, you have to stay inside and you have to do all this stuff. And then part of me is like, this is like my dream come true. I can stay home and do all this stuff. This is like, I don't even know what they're doing on the outside, and I'm not sure I care. Like, I feel like it feels like an elaborate prank because all you do is watch it on television. So
yeah, I think that's the other thing. It is pretty like it's funny where I am. I told you before we started, like we haven't had an active case for about a month now. So like it really has gotten back to normal to the point where like you kind of have to remind people about it again. They're like, oh yeah, that giant thing happening in the world at the moment, and all the other riots and things like that are happening. Like none of that's happening here, to the point that they're cutting down a tree across the road from our apartment building, and like 5 people came out to complain about the tree being cut down. And I was like, yeah, what shows up in our radar is really low end for other people right now.
Can we just give some props to the US right now? Because what does it take? Think about what it would take to steal literally a global pandemic's thunder. But they managed.
It has just been, I mean, that's the one thing that I've struggled to turn away from, because, like, you know, I'm in a country that hasn't been perfect, and I feel like it'd be impossible to be perfect. Like, no one's ever done this before with the whole pandemic thing, and obviously now the protests and everything, which we've got here as well. But like, just trying not to be glued and watching what Trump has done today is like an actual thing. Like, because that was like I remember 6 weeks ago he was like, yeah, bleach is fine, drink it. And that was, and if you look back, it's like, remember the good times when bleach was our biggest issue?
We did like almost a full podcast about this, and at least at the at-home one, and I think I called it "Let Them Drink Bleach."
Like, oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that was
Let them drink bleach. Why are we trying to stop them? They're literally the enemy is like trying to kill themselves, and we're like trying to stop them. And I don't understand the logic behind it. Let them go to a rally. Let them not wear masks. Let them drink as much bleach as they want to drink.
Yep, so they can go to as Mike said, so they can go to Chili's and Arby's and get their haircut.
Yeah,
that was their biggest thing. It was just all these idiots, just like, no. What's the new one with the mask? They're like, your body's meant to throw out carbon dioxide, so I'm not wearing a mask and breathing in poison. And you're just like, that's not. Like, surgeons wear that mask for 12 hours and they're not like just dropping like flies on the floor.
I mean, I don't know. You just like, I don't even know what to say, because you try very hard to think that people like this are not real, or that they just find, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them to be on Oprah, or like Montel Williams or whatever, or Jerry.
Apparently, no. Oprah's producers go outside, throw a rock, and hit one of these nut jobs. Like, they're just everywhere, apparently.
Yeah, it's bad.
Speaking of crazy dumb people, the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, dude. Like, how good does Eugene Melnyk feel right now?
Oh, see, I don't know if you know about Eugene Melnyk. So they have a charity called the Sens Foundation, and now they've left the Senators, the Ottawa Senators, their own charity. It's that bad with Eugene Melnyk that they've left the franchise.
Literally, the charity people. Charity people are my people. I work in the nonprofit industry, right? Do you know how bad it needs to be for your foundation to dump your ass? Like, really bad.
They're still running it. Like, the Sens Foundation's still a thing. They're just not linked to the Ottawa Senators anymore, which just makes me like, what? Yeah, you need. I think Melnyk. I made a video that goes up later today, and I sort of talked about how to think about everything that's gone on in the last 24, 36 hours. For those who don't know, Botterill was let go along with 23 other staff members.
Wow.
And I think unless you start to see, so like the Washington Capitals, they've put a cap in place that if you make more than $75,000 US, you're taking a 20% pay cut to the end of the year. And I was like, yeah, that's, you know, and they distinctly said to keep their head count. And I was like, yeah, that's reasonable. Like, I'm fine with that. I had to do a similar thing at my job for a while there. And I'm fine with that. But yeah, just going in and just cleaning house. If there's a team that's not doing that pay cap thing, I think this is going to be the first of a few teams to do the opt out for the mass jettison. But what do you think about the Sabres obviously getting a new GM and firing everyone?
Well, I don't know that I can feel all that bad about a bunch of old white hockey dudes getting fired, because a part of me is kind of like, you know, that sounds like a win to me. Now, if I had any hope at all, what I'm hoping is that with the new climate of what's happening, when they go to rehire people, maybe they'll actually have to hire some women and, I don't know, minorities. I know it's a pipe dream, but I'm hoping maybe this virus will kill off all the old white dudes and we'll be the only people left.
No. If you look at the picture of the new Sabres GM, you'd just be like, that is the whitest human being that I've ever seen in my life. Like that is, it is, yeah. And again, it's a guy with he's never done the job before. They've just gone from one that's a first-time GM to another one that's a first-time GM. It just makes no sense.
He has, I have to read you this quote. Hold on. Where is it? It says, Botterill is replaced by promoting Vice President of Business Operation Kevin Adams, a former player who has no previous GM experience.
Yeah.
And you're like, right on. Good move.
And not as temp. It's not like, oh, he's just going to hold the place until we do an actual committee.
No.
Nope.
And it's like they're like, so in their statement, it's like Terry and Kim Pagula, right?
Yeah.
They're like, we need to make adjustments in the business side of our operations that we provide that foresight to the operation. We felt like we weren't being heard. I'm not going to sit here and dish on Jason Botterill, but we have a vision and we want to see our vision succeed. I think these old people need LASIK like ASAP.
Yeah.
Because their vision is impaired. Seriously.
Their vision sounds very much like it. The longer this goes for, and the more I hear people from like Hockey Central that, kind of, I think, toe the line a little bit, say like, oh, it was a communication thing and they were going a different way. I really think that the Bagulas told Botterill to let go of all these people and he said no.
Yeah.
Or he said, like, what's the point of me working here, like, for a franchise? What's the point of me being a general manager for a franchise that's going nowhere? And then they said, well, cool, out you go. Because, like, it's never – you don't just get a job and then the first thing you do is, like, while we've got one out the door, I might as well just keep going. Like, there was a set plan with a list of these names to get rid of these people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, they got rid of 22 people. 22 people in that operation is a huge amount of people. So how are you supposed to do your job if they've, like, gotten rid of a ton of your scouts and gotten rid of a ton of – and, like, basically the intern is in charge now.
Yeah, like the guy that was – with no AHL – like, I know AHL won't be coming back anytime soon, but it is the feeder league. Like, they got rid of their 3 development coaches – the AHL head coach and the 2 assistant coaches of the AHL. And I was just like, they're also second in the conference, by the way, that AHL team. Like, they were doing quite well.
Okay, Brenton, how mad is Jack Eichel right now? Jack Eichel's hair is, like, straight. That's how mad he is right now.
I think the only thing that saved this is apparently he loves Kruger, their coach. Like, just loves him. But, that's... I really wouldn't be surprised if we just hear talks of him like, I want to trade.
Yeah, but the thing is, they had just re-signed him to like a 7-year deal, right? So they don't, like, I can totally see intern guy, the new GM, being like, yeah, no, we're not gonna. What are you gonna do? Lose?
Yeah,
we're already doing that, and clearly it bothers you more than it bothers us. So
yeah. Also, Kevin spells his name with a Y.
I know, yeah.
I mean, I looked at that and I was like, that's the most, like, I wanted to be mad at him. I know it's his parents' fault, but I still want to be mad at him. Like, he's had ample times to change this. Yeah, exactly.
He had time to change it.
Exactly.
And he didn't. And that is totally his fault. You're right.
Yeah. I saw that Y and I was like, I hope this is a typo. And I went through it. I was like, no, it's not. But yeah, you're definitely wrong with the whole, like, they'll come back and hire people, with diverse backgrounds. Like, what was it at Nashville that just hired John Hines after he got fired from New Jersey? There was no interviews of anyone else. It was just like, yep, straight to John Hines. And you're like, yeah, okay. So it's not even, there's just no chance for anyone of any diverse background to get a job because they're not even getting, like, an interview to get the experience of getting an interview and sort of go from there.
Imagine, can you imagine? I mean, like, you work in business, I work in business, stuff like that. Can you imagine being fired that often and yet always, I mean, like, when was the last time a GM or a coach on an NHL team just quit and said, you know what, I'm going to quit and I'm just going to go to this other team, right? No one leaves. They all get fired. They all get fired because they're incompetent. Or they lose the room, which is another way of saying your players don't want to play for you. In management, Brenton, what happens when you lose the room?
Yeah, you're out in your ass pretty quick, and then Yeah, there's no mention of the other job at the next interview. Right, like it's just this merry-go-round, and it's just like what stuff am I going to get off on?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's just exhausting having to watch a league do the wrong thing over and over and over again.
Yep.
But like I say this all the time, I don't think the NHL is for us, the fans. They run the NHL for them, the former players and the owners and the coaches in the league. It's this big incestuous group, and they are literally running it for their own benefit. It has nothing to do with us. They don't want to grow the game.
No.
That's just more voices, new voices that they would have to, listen to, and they're not interested in doing that. So why?
No.
Why do we love
that's exactly
hockey?
it.
I don't get it.
And well, that's more on us. It's a real Stockholm syndrome sort of situation that we've got going on at the moment, that we're still just like, we hate all this stuff, but we'll keep watching. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. It's not fine.
I think the worst thing is eventually, like, there'll be some like female analytic person that will get hired, and they'll, they might not be a good person, or might not do well at the job, and then that will be it for the next 20 years. We'll be like, well, we tried once.
Yeah.
We tried, and then we'll be like, but what about all those guys that you hired that did nothing? We tried once. We're only human. They keep giving John Hines jobs. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Okay. Seriously, how long until Mike Babcock is rehired?
Man, the fact that I heard in the media that Tortorella was getting praised because he said something like, as long as they ask for permission. Oh boy, burping. As long as they ask for permission, I would allow them to protest during the national anthem. And that's where the hockey thing, like some guy that was like completely against it, that has Seth Jones on his team, by the way, and plays in a town called Columbus, which like that's a whole new kettle of fish. The fact that he's been praised in the media for the last week for just being like, bravo on your stance of like, as long as it's not a World Cup game, you can ask us and we may think about you protesting. Like Babcock will get hired no time at all.
For sure. The fact that nobody actually calls out how offensive it is to think that a player needs to ask for permission.
Oh yeah.
To voice a protest. Like, who does he think that he is? Who he's allowed to be always.
Yep.
Right. Oh, I don't even know what to say. It's I hate that man. I really do.
Yeah. Well, AFL here just started up again, so our football, like the weird jumpy kick one, that like only we love and no one else really understands. It's kind of like all of our animals. Everyone's just like, what is this thing? And but yeah, so the first game and every game since, every single player has kneeled in a circle with the coaches, and they've prepared a statement for the commentary team to read while they sit in silence for like 30 seconds. I was like, everyone's just on board with it. It almost becomes a non-event in the sense of like, oh, is he going to protest or not? And it's like, no, like stand in solidarity with it. Like,
right.
Again, like, it's quite easy to just do that and then just say job's done. So instead of just, even being a step back and be like, no, he has to ask for permission.
Permission. And that's the other thing that Tort said. He said, and if we all agree, we talk about it in a group, and if we all agree, and it's like, really? Yeah. Does a black person need to agree with a Trump supporter about how this situation needs to be handled? I don't think so. Torts?
Yeah, could you imagine if Tim Thomas was in that room? just as poor little Seth Jones, like, I think about protest this, and he's just like talking about bunkers and stuff. Oh, I mean, it is. I mean, that's the whole thing of just like, you don't have permission to protest, and it's like, oh, but silent protesting is fine. And then when it all kicks off the fan, they're just like, well, yeah, we didn't let us peacefully do this. What do you want us to do?
You know what's weird though is that like so like I said, I don't have TV, but I do watch YouTube, and I am like obsessed with video clips of like of ESPN right now. And it's funny to hear them talk about basketball, because I'm like, don't hockey players watch ESPN? look at how football players and basketball players rule their league, or at least basketball players do, right? They decide what they're going to do, and then the owners and everybody else scramble around them. And here are hockey players asking permission and coming to, coming to a group consensus on whether or not they go to the White House. Like, look at the difference in power that they have.
Yeah, basketball is always just, very recently, because of the upsurge, the players know that they're pretty much celebrities. Like, they're mainstay celebrities. I feel like some of those players, but NFL owns their league pretty well. At least we look back and we're not MLB, where like it just doesn't look like a baseball is going to play. But I mean, who watches baseball, honestly?
I know, yeah, and it's pretty boring. But you just go to them for the snacks, really.
Yeah, but I feel like you can just get snacks anyway.
Yeah, but there's something about eating snacks over what feels like a small eternity that you're forced to be at the
small eternity. Yeah.
The last time I went to a baseball game, I spent the first half of the game trying to dodge the sun because it was so hot, and I'm like, please, this room has to finish closing because I'm literally dying of heat right now. The sun is beating me right in the head. And then the other part trying to flag down the hot dog guy.
Yeah, I mean there's no hot dog guy in any other country, by the way. It's only in America and Canada there's this guy just walking around with, like, in every other place when you go to a sporting venue, you get up and go to like some canteen thing to go buy it. But like in America, like we've even found a way to just make that experience. And like you pass it, like someone passes it down, your cash gets passed over. And I was just like, this would never happen. Like someone would pocket that money. 3 people in Australia, that money would be used for beer money immediately.
You got to respect North America's desire not to walk. Under any circumstances.
But the honesty system in that, like, it never goes awry. Here, like, again, there'll be some drunk person at the football that would take a bite out of that hot dog. Like, there'd be a bunch of those things that would happen. I can't talk about baseball being boring because I do play cricket. So, and I'm sure you in England have some level of understanding of cricket now, right?
Look, I live here like I never moved. I live here like I live here every day. Like, why are all these people with British accent? I literally am in such denial that I live in Europe that I still 2 years
just like
in.
No.
Yeah. No, I don't know anything about cricket. I don't know. I am the least amount integrated person because it's like the second I landed and realized I'm probably not going to stay. I was like, I could try to fit in, or I could not.
Yeah. You're not missing much with cricket, honestly.
Honestly, I'm just trying to picture you in a cricket outfit.
It's just whites. Like, it's always whites. The game I play is only one full day. So my girlfriend's always just like, because I'll leave at 11 in the morning and I'll be back about 8 o'clock at night. She's like, how does that sport go? Yeah, like it's a full day. It's a full day. And, but there's a version of the game that's called a test match, which goes for 5 days. And at the end of 5 days, you can end in a draw. Because so you could play 5 days for nothing.
But why would you even want to do that? Because I always pictured cricket was just like I don't know, like more aggressive golf, a little bit.
No, it's a more aggressive baseball. Like that's pretty much it. So like when you in baseball, if you hit the guy, he gets to walk to the pace.
Yeah.
In cricket, if you hit the guy as a bowler, like you've intimidated him, like you've done your job at that point because you're trying to get him out. But you only get one out. So what you're trying to that's kind of like a little trick up your sleeve is to like bowl a ball at his head. It's just cause concussion. So yeah, it's an odd sport, but it's a very odd sport. Like it's very like if you watched it, you'd be like, oh, I can just see 1800s. But some rich person with a mustache, like, and the person will take a run up, and then he will hurl the object, and a sporting chap at the other side will try hit the ball with a bat.
Oh, your accents are greatly improved since the last time that.
Yeah, I started doing stand up, so the accents were not flying well before. You know, when you go up on stage and try to do a British accent, the only thing you can think of is like, "Oh, I'm a chimney sweep, I am," and like it doesn't really work. So you have
Really,
to.
that's not an accent? I think I have heard that. I don't have a chimney, but I think I've heard that accent before. But I was going to ask you, which NHL player would be an awesome cricket player?
Oh man, I mean, bowling would be like all of them would just be useless because you can't throw it. You have to use a straight arm and go. I'm like trying to do it as if people can see in the podcast. You've got to keep a straight arm that goes around 360, and that's when you let go of the ball. So I'm trying to think who can like just bat out of the air. Who's got like super good hand-eye coordination?
Sid.
And can drink, because at the end of every game you drink beer. So I'm going to say Ryan O'Reilly seems like a dude that could just get on the beers afterwards.
Yeah.
He's good hand-eye coordination. He'd be good in the field. There's a lot of shit talking in cricket, like because there's a lot of just nothing happening. So everyone just kind of, not so much the other team or your own team. You're just kind of shit talking a lot, and then a little bit to the other team. But yeah, because there's a lot of just nothing happening for long periods of time.
I can't even picture it, but I'm too scared to watch a game or something because if I find baseball boring, I can't even imagine what that.
It's better to play than watch. I find like it's really good to play because like everyone, like we've got a girl on our team. She was the only one in the comp because she played for like Australia for a while and then has come back down to mid-30s and had a kid and all that. So. And she got suspended for calling the umpire a smooth-brained C word. So that's about it's about the level of like the of what cricket's about. I feel like that's the best way I can ever explain it.
That actually made me almost want to watch.
It's better than baseball because there's a lot more to it in the sense like there's a bit more strategy involved. I feel. Having never played baseball, but I just find that sport so boring.
It is boring. Is there less spitting?
Oh, there's so much spitting on the ball. So it's only on the ball that you spit because you've got to get one side shiny and the other side not shiny. So the ball swings in the air. So everyone, it's the least COVID now. They're like really worried when the season starts in summer because they're like, what do we do? Because it's 11 people that will just spit and rub this ball, which is just the worst for leaving COVID around.
Yeah, I'm saying that enjoy cricket while you can because they're not long for this world, it seems.
Oh, it's the one of the long the cricket in Australia will never go anywhere. A bunch of people could
all die of COVID because they spit on stuff and then like pass it around.
People would be like, "Oh, Aussie battler spirit." You know how everyone's reopening the economy in America, and they're like, yeah, a bunch of people will die, but we can go to Arby's. That'll be us with cricket. Like it'll be a bunch of drunk bogans, just like, yeah, they had a good run. Uncle Greg had a really good go, and but the cricket has to be on. I mean, come on, let's be reasonable. I love how we went from the Buffalo Sabres to COVID cricket spitting.
So wait, well, what is more? Is there anything more to say about the Buffalo Sabres? Just like I just can't even imagine what it must be like to be Jack Eichel right now. Because I mean, Jeff Skinner, I think he's cool. I think he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah, whatever. I got my money.
Yeah.
I like the one thing I look at Botterill and his whole time there is that I wonder if there was other stuff from Bagula's that he wasn't allowed to do anything because, man, they just never got a goalie, ever. Like, they've just not had a save, and they haven't been able to buy a save for 9 years. It's the main reason they're not in the playoff, like, ever in the playoffs. Because, I mean, the Devils made the playoffs 2 years ago just solely off, like, a goalie.
Right.
And Taylor Hall. I don't know. Like, I feel like that team really, like, it kind of has the mix of, like, if they don't get this together, I think that this team has the highest percentage of not being around in 10 years.
Well, just which are they in the Metro?
Yeah. Oh no, the Atlantic. They're in the Atlantic.
Damn it! I kind of wish they were in the Metro because the Metro is a really tough division right now.
Yeah,
I feel like You
No
could
reprieve
always
there.
count on a couple teams to just be utter crap.
Yeah.
And we don't have as much as that anymore. And I got to say, I kind of miss it.
I loved it when we played the Atlanta Thrashers every 3 times a year. Those were great games. Just watch Sid and Malkin get their hat tricks and then go home.
Exactly.
Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. Yeah, because they've got Red Wings, Panthers, and the Sabres all in that division.
Yes. See, that's not fair. That is just not fair.
I just love how we move the Red Wings over just to make things fair.
I know, and
God, what a giant piece of shit that team is. Oh, and Montreal's in that division too.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to go to this part or if this is part of a different segment, but are we going to talk about Pittsburgh playing Montreal in the
Yeah, we can jump there now if you want. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that? Well, you know what? I haven't taken any time to see what the alternatives would have been. Because I feel like with all of the teams being so close, I feel like we could lose against anybody realistically. But I don't know about this whole Carey Price is going to get hot and we're going to like this whole idea that we should be terrified of a hot Carey Price. I don't know. I mean, he's hot. Don't get me wrong, but
I start. Oh, jeez. I know, right? No. I could see. See, right now, if you look at his stats the last 2-3 years, he's not even a 920 goalie. Like, I'm not worried about it. I'm more worried that our goalies will be like sieves to water than him being a brick wall. I think they won. I don't think they won a single game by 2 goals unless one of them was an empty net throughout the whole season. Montreal.
Let me pass a theory by you. What if Murray is the alterna Fleury? What if he's the opposite of Fleury, where he sucks during the regular season but is amazing during the playoffs?
See, we think that, but then I watched the whole playoffs when Fleury was there, and they alternated the net the whole time because one of them would lose their minds in a series, and the other one would be like, "Yeah, okay, I can win 3 games," and then the next series would happen, and one of them would just lose their minds again. I feel like we've got a great 2 goalies of just one of them will lose their minds at any given time. So, but I like the Murray theory.
Yeah, I feel like he does always play better in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Has Jari ever played a game in the playoffs?
I think he's played 1, but not like a huge amount. I think they put him in last year when we got swept by the Islanders.
Oh, good times.
Oh no, that was Casey DeSmith. Remember that guy?
Casey DeSmith.
Yeah. Remember him?
I remember him.
Nope.
How's his new house working out?
Oh, he's doing well. He's plugging along.
Yeah.
Oh, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
Point 1 for karma.
Yeah, 0.1 for karma on that one. 0.1 for karma on that one. Yeah, I think the pain and Zucker with a bit of time, like a full training camp with his team, is just going to be amazing. Like I think that will be that's when you'll really see that trade was worth it.
Yeah.
And because he has all the recipes for being good with Sid. He's kind of like Chris Kunitz, end of list of things that make him good with Sid.
I'm trying to remember though. Is Zucker, is he a right wing or a left wing? And is Jake the same? So is the problem that they're trying to figure out how to get Zucker and Jake both on as his? I
think they are now I'm blanking.
I think they are, because people were saying, what are you going to do? Move them off their wings so that they can both play with Sid, or do you move Jake down to play with Gino?
Well, I would do either way. Because Gino really hasn't been going for the last 1.5, 2 years, and there's no steady winger there. So I'm fine with that. Figure it out how you will.
Yeah, I think Gino had spurts of being amazing in this year, and then again we just keep getting all of these injuries. But I think that one thing I like about Sullivan is that he'll switch stuff up. If it's not working, it seems like he'll kind of, yeah. So I feel like he'll find something that works. And even now, Sherry, I don't even care anymore.
Sherry. Oh yeah, I forget that he's back.
I need a new nickname for him because, like, what happens with him?
Cher. I always call him Cher.
Or Cher or Sheer?
Cher, like the singer.
Oh,
I always call him that. Yeah, like on the podcast, whenever he scores, I'll start singing. If I could turn back time.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you remember. Because Mike was so annoyed when we got him back because he was like, we started the podcast and all I said was if I could turn back. And he's like, I thought we were done with this. I really thought we were done. And I was like, no, this joke's never dying.
Well, who do we have to thank for that? That would be Jason Botterill right there.
Yeah, bots came up big. Oh, could you imagine if this was his whole plan, like WWE style? Make a small trade for a third liner and then swap back.
Oh my God. So the first round is 5 games. Best out of 5 games?
Yeah, 5 games, yeah.
Okay.
It's the play-in round, so it doesn't count as the playoffs.
On the Ms. Underestimated Discord, we have a little pool going about how quickly Sidney Crosby gets COVID.
Oh, yeah. You really do forget that this team had the mumps.
Yeah.
We're like, actually, not they had the mumps. They spread the mumps like throughout the league. They were the... Yeah, he's totally getting COVID. They're all getting it.
Yeah, my bet is first round play-in, game 3. That's my bet.
Who does he get it off, but? Does he get it off a dirty French-speaking Canadian? Or does he get it off another Pittsburgh Penguin?
Sid gets it off a fan, for sure. Some child somewhere. Because those are the only people that he touches. No, I got it. Sidney Crosby gets it from a tiny water bottle. For sure he gets it from a tiny water bottle.
Oh, no. And you just spread it, like... Just spread it. Because he's always talking in everyone's ears, just spreading his COVID everywhere. Poor Hornquist. Hornquist would be the first to fucking get the thing. Because he sits next to him while Sid's just constantly talking about where he should be at the power play.
I have to admit, though, that is the one thing that I am dying to see right now is a picture of Sidney Crosby with a mask on. I don't even know why.
Yeah. Yeah, do you reckon they're going to have... I thought about this today. Do you think they'll walk into the stadiums with, like, penguin logoed masks?
Yes, I do. I mean, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. I think they probably will have team branded masks, but it would be awesome if they all got to pick their own masks. So we could see how many of them wear those Blue Lives Matter ones. And, yeah.
Fuck. The best thing that the NHL could do about the cops thing is just look the other way on. Just don't mention police for the next year.
Oh, they won't.
They mention the other side of it, definitely, but do not mention police. Oh, yeah, there'll be some police officer singing the national anthem at game 1.
Totally.
It'll probably, with the draft lottery, which is, by the way, the dumbest. Have you heard of the new draft lottery rules?
No, but you have to explain to me first why it matters. Because this is what I don't get about. I don't get about the draft. Is it just because of the order? Like who gets what?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what are they doing? They're waiting until the results of the playoff round? No. Oh.
So we're doing from 15 to we're starting at 1. So whoever, because the first 3 picks are up for lottery, so they could go to anyone in the cesspool of failure.
Yeah.
If you're in the cesspool of failure, then you could get 1. You could move up. You could be the 15th team and still move up and pinch 1. So what's going to happen is Daly's going to open a box, and either it's going to have a team that we already know is out of the playoffs, or it's going to have a Riddler question mark. And if it has a Riddler question mark, it means one of the teams that are going to lose in the play-in round has that pick. So then we redo it a month later.
That kind of sounds awesome.
Except for the Riddler. I was just like, why don't we just do it a month later? Like, it's going to be such a... Because you know it's going to be the first pick too. You know the first pick, because they're just going to stop whenever they get to that question mark. If it's in the first three, they're just going to stop. And you know the first one's going to be a question mark. You just know.
Oh my God. But I mean, my favorite thing is that they think that somehow this is riveting television. Because I know they're doing it for like TV time and all that shit. But it's like, come on.
It will be 4 hours of bloody. What's that? What's Sportsnet just been like? Hockey's come a long way since the COVID thing, and it'd be like some bumfuck middle of nowhere Canada and some rink that no one cares about that a fire started in 30 years ago, and some kid on a crutch with a little jerry can just like, yeah, can we, get some money for the rink? And then it'll be more slow-mo things of like snow and ice and talk about the outdoor game, and then we'll go to this blue balls draft. That's the only way I can describe it because nothing's going to actually happen in it. And then... and then at that point, I think they're going to announce. I bet you they'll announce like when the games will start, and that'll be it. Show's over. See you in a month when we redraft again.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
It's the most NHL thing that I've ever heard in my life.
It is. I mean, somewhere, Ron McLean is feeling really attacked by you right now.
Oh yeah, he's really. You're right. His whole job is that. I do feel sorry for him because I do honestly think, and he's made a few comments about, oh God, what's his name? Who was the guy that he was with?
Don Cherry?
Yeah, Don Cherry. He's made a lot of comments about him.
This has been a long fucking year, Brenton. It's been a long year.
Yeah. When that was newsworthy. So he made a few comments about Don Cherry recently, and so I honestly think I was like, man, that would have been hard working next to that geriatric human being, not knowing where he's going to go off. But yeah, right, yeah. I don't think anyone can hate McLean, really, can they?
I don't know. The more I watch it, I didn't watch hockey my whole life, right? I started watching it as an adult. So I look at it and I'm like, who is your target audience that gives a flying fuck about this? About almost anything that comes out of your mouth right now. Their demographic is old people who already love hockey. And, and I just find it so utterly boring. It's so boring that right now I find one of the most interesting people in hockey to be Brian Burke in comparison.
Really?
Well, he does tell the same story over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I love that they got rid of almost all of the old guys. You remember that show, Old Guys Talk Hockey at Lunch? Old Guys,
yeah.
Right. They got rid of almost all of them, which is fabulous. But they kept Berkey, and he at least is entertaining. I feel like if a normal person had a conversation with him, you could change his mind.
Yeah. Plus, sometimes he said there was one thing that he said so he was asked today on Hockey Central when he took over, because he obviously took over a few places. He's like, how come you never cleaned house? And he's like, well, they have contracts and they have families, it is an income for them. So yeah, they have to they have to be doing their job, but they can at least, I'll give them the chance to prove that to me. And I was, and there's some things that he says every now and then. He's like, was he just misunderstood?
I think he's so entrenched in the old way.
The old guy, yeah.
He is very old school, but I think he's the kind of old school that if you sat this man down and you're like, this is wrong because of this and that, he could come around to changing it. And I think in part it's because he had a son that was gay. And the second that you change your mind about one thing like that and you realize how unfair it is, then you're much more open to all of the other things. I just think he needs to be educated. But what I like about him is that he seems legitimately open to being educated, as opposed to some of the other guys. I find Merrick and Friedman, who are in there, it's kind of like I have so much more time for an old fart who is open to change than a mid 40-year-old that is still this stupid because they just choose to be this stupid.
Yeah, I think Merrick's just misplaced at the moment. That's the only way I can really describe it. The whole Friedman thing, I've just never, I think he's I don't know if he got to that position and really, because he would be the lead insider, right, Friedman?
Yeah.
And, yeah. Does that come with an ego? Like, what does that just like? Do you think that your shit doesn't smell? Like, do you think most people getting there
Yes.
would think that? Yeah, because that's the sense that I get from him is that his shit doesn't smell and that he doesn't need to learn anything.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like these are when you look at like an insider that is like him, right? He's a guy who didn't play hockey. So basically he was like a nerd all the way through high school and whatever. Probably had people kind of making fun of him the whole time. And now he's like legitimate, respected, kind of whatever, people know who he is. And it's just like ego. It's all ego based. I don't think they're all like that. I think that there are some insiders that are interesting, but I think Friedman suffers from the more time you have to listen to him, the less you like him. When I was just getting him in small doses, man, I liked him a whole lot more.
Yeah, I think Chris Johnston is one that I really like, and he's out there all the time. But everything I hear back is about him being a great person. I get the impression from 31 Thoughts that they really don't like Merrick and Friedman don't like each other sometimes. Yeah. I really get that impression when I listen to that. I was like, do you guys actually like each other?
Well, I had the same impression when it was Merrick versus Wyshynski. I'm like, I think they guys really like each other. But then I think Merrick is better in small doses because literally, if I have to hear him one more time talk about philosophy of what and whatever and whatever yoga and like that, I'm literally gonna fly my COVID infected ass to Canada, like hit him with a rock and come
strong
back.
In this one.
Yeah,
the weed is strong,
dude.
As you get along, and again, that wasn't too bad. If every now because I used to watch like MVSW that's the main reason I started a podcast, to be honest. And it would be very rare that he'd bring something up like that. And when he did, you're like, oh, you'd kind of take back and take note of it. And you're like, oh, that's something, that's a point of view I haven't thought of, I guess.
Right.
Plus I was in my mid-20s, so I was a white male butt, so I did know everything, but I could learn one or two things. But no, like I found that side fascinating because it was only just maybe once every 6 months you get like a little giblet worth of knowledge in that sort of area, and you're like, oh, okay. But then like it's now a bit preachy.
Yeah, I think they were good foils for one another, Merrick and Wyshynski. And it's kind of like, did I agree with everything it is that they said? No, but that was the fun of it, is that you yell at one when you thought he was being stupid, and then Merrick always looked, I think, calm and measured and intelligent in comparison. But now he doesn't have that foil, and he just seems pretentious.
Yeah. Plus, I don't think he's a good host. I don't get why he's a host. He seems like someone that you have along for to talk about like the history of hockey and that sort of thing.
Right.
He's always or like a joint one when they had the MVSW that like none of them were really the host. So but the whole Friedman thing. Plus, Friedman looks like he's hiding from the government in a cave.
Oh, I know.
With his beard.
But you know what? I'm with you. I like Chris Johnson. If I could listen to any journalist interview a player, I would pick him right now.
Oh, he'd be good too. Plus, he seems to he gets enough out of them too.
Yeah.
He gets his facts. Shall we move into some questions? And I know you got a hard out, so did you want to hit up a few questions before we put a bow on this one? Unless you've got any final thoughts.
Yeah, no, I have no thoughts whatsoever.
I usually say hit it for the intro, but I'll give you the honor as the guest to just yell out hit it, and then that will be when the question song comes on.
Hit it!
Was it Twitter, was it mail? No matter what it is, we'll never fail to get the answer over to you. 'Cause we're the professional question answering crew.
There you go. And then through the magic of editing, there was an intro song. Woo!
We don't do editing.
Oh, we do. Yeah, our version of editing is we put a theme song in and we put the question song in, Editing done. Like that's
Dude.
our level of editing.
Our listeners are lucky if I remember which button to hit at the beginning and the end of our podcast. We have kept their expectations so low that
You guys have been on fire, but like the last couple of weeks, and the other guy, misunestimated or whatever that's called.
Kate and Kira, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty funny too. That I think I told you that was always the weirdest thing when I first played that, and I had no idea they were there. And like I was listening to 5 minutes, and because all Canadians sound the same, it took me a while to figure out. I was like, man, Laura must be sick. Like, I was honestly just like, you must be really sick because you sound nothing like yourself. And then they started using their names, and I was like, who the fuck are these people? And then I was like, what podcast have I subscribed to? And I was like scrolling down thinking like there's the gap in the matrix. And yeah. Here we go. So Lindsay asks, for Brenton and Laura, do either of you have a weird piece of hockey memorabilia? If not, what would be a weird piece of hockey memorabilia that you could think of that you'd love to own? Oh.
I only have one piece of hockey memorabilia, and I guess it's considered hockey memorabilia. But so one of the first jobs I ever had is I worked for the Olympics. And I have do you know how the podium jerseys were hockey jerseys?
Yeah.
So I have podium jerseys from the Olympics, basically, because we get like a funny thing is that people who work for the Olympic get clothing packages.
Yeah.
So even if you work in the office part, you still get like certain pieces of clothing that all of the athletes get. So you'd get them. Plus, we always had athletes coming into the offices, and we'd get them assigned to sign them. So I have a podium jersey. I think I have like Sydney and Salt Lake City, and I can't remember which other ones that I have. So that's the only thing that I have, and only because they were free and given to me.
Really?
I'm trying to remember what Olympics it was. It must have been one of the winter ones while I was there. We had these posters. So basically, before the athletes go to the games, they stop in a city in Canada, like say Calgary, and they get measured for their clothing packages. And while they're there, we lay out all this merch and posters and stuff, and we get them to sign it. And then we give them away to auctions and all of this stuff. And since I worked in kind of fundraising and all that stuff, I had a poster that was signed by like all of the athletes. We're talking all the hockey team, whatever. And Brenton, I'm pretty sure I threw it away.
Oh, no.
Because I was like, I don't really care about hockey. I didn't care about sports at all when I worked for the Olympics. I was like, if I never see another piece of red fleece in my life, it will be too soon.
Scrunched up and go. That's cool with the podium jersey, but besides that, you threw away probably something that's worth like thousands now.
I can't even. Can you imagine?
Oh, no. The weirdest thing I have is, do you remember, the All-Star skills competitions?
Yes.
Do you remember the sniper ones that they had to do where they had to shoot into the round white McDonald's logos to prove their accuracy?
Yeah.
I hit one of them that exploded. So it's missing the top left of it by Henrik Sedin.
Oh, very cool. How did you get that?
I was over there for work, and a buddy of mine I can't remember what he was doing. Something with the All-Star game. I think he worked for one of the sponsors of the All-Star game. I think he was doing like the promotion side for the sponsor, if that made sense, to make sure that I'm pretty sure his job is that everything that they were going to talk about the sponsor, which I can't remember what the company was now, everything they were going to do for the sponsor was on brand and, got all ticked off. That was kind of his job. And so he got me tickets to it, and it was great. And then at the end, he's like, "Here, take this." And I was like, "What's this?" And he's like, "It's the thing that knocked off from Henrik Sedin." He didn't like hockey at all, so he was like, "Yeah, some dude handed me this," and I was like, "Brenton might like it." Yeah, so that's at my desk at work, and everyone is always like, "What's with that McDonald's thing?" And I was like, "Oh, it's from a skills competition. Like a player actually hit it." I'd love to get it signed. That's the one
amazing
fanboy thing that'll be like, "Can you please sign my?"
That would be so cool.
Thing. been unable to get a lock of Oli Marder's hair. That would then take.
You do have 8,000 Olimata jerseys. How many and where is he now, by the way?
So they're all in like there's a So this is the spare room. This isn't actually the main bedroom. My wardrobe is not in the main bedroom. It's all in the spare room. And there is a whole so it's 3 cupboards, and one of them is just it is just drawers like this, about your usual drawer length, that goes all the way to the roof, and it is just folded hockey jerseys, like either ones that I've worn or that. And I've got 15 Oli Marder jerseys, and I was going through, and there's some really sad ones. Like I have 3 Letestu jerseys.
No, Brenton! At that point, you've got a problem.
Oh, it's so many Penguin. Like my partner was just like, "Why are there so many Penguin jerseys? Like why?"
Do you have a Jack Johnson jersey?
I don't have a Jack. No, he's like one of the few that I don't have at the moment. I will
have you committed. At that point, I'm gonna have to have a talk with your partner, and we'll be like, it's time.
Do you know what I didn't have until the start of this year? A Letang jersey. I didn't even realize I didn't have one.
Really?
Yeah, I just never. For some reason, I think I just went through this whole time of just like, oh, I must have one. Yeah. Because I just have so many jerseys. Like if I was to get them out, like you would just be like, this is getting ridiculous. Like it was an entire moving box.
I already think it's ridiculous.
An entire moving box was Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys. I think when he got traded away, I put every one of them on, and it was just like I've never been so hot in my life, and it was just ridiculous.
Is it just merch, or do you wear them?
So like I don't wear them. I'll wear them if I go watch like a football game, or if I'm going to a bar with a friend, but like I'm not going out to dinner, or if I'm just going to the shops to like buy a couple, like do grocery shoppings, I'll throw it on if it's just easy to throw on. But no, for the most part, and then I wear them at home when the games are on. Obviously me wearing them in Canberra is really going to help the team perform in Pittsburgh.
I know that if I'm on the bus and I see somebody in a Penguins hat, immediately I'm like we do this thing where like I see you, Penguins fan, thumbs up to you. So do you get that, like that kind of from other hockey fans?
Well, usually it's different here. So usually someone from another, because like obviously hockey isn't the most. It's definitely grown in popularity. So usually it will be someone that like, oh my god, you like my thing. Yeah. I like this thing too, and then it'll be like, yeah, you become best friends with the person. You pretty much revert to being 8 years old, where you both find out that you like Pokemon, and then you tell your mom that someone's coming over for a sleepover that night, and you don't properly know their name, but they like the Pokemon, so
that's genius. That's exactly what it is. It's like, you are a complete stranger. I know nothing about you other than you're wearing a Penguins hat, but we should be friends.
Yeah, but but you must be a good person because of that. But if they have a Flyers cap, they're like monster.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have standards, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So every now and then I'll get someone that comes up to it, or they'll make some snide comment about like Sidney Crosby or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, most people are just want to strike up a conversation, and they'll be like, "I go for the Vancouver Canucks."
How did he even get hate in Australia?
Tons of people are just like, I think they think that you go for them because like they're the best, especially when they were winning. It's like, oh, you only go for them because of the best team. And I was like, man, I went for them when they were the best team, when Lemieux was.
I mean, let's think about the logic behind that. It's kind of like, listen to what you just said. It's like, you're only wearing them because they're the best team. It's like, you're right. I should have gone for like the shittiest team in the league and bought their jersey, because what would that say about me exactly? Yeah. I have really bad taste, but yes, I'm dedicated.
But I am obsessed. Like there's always a few, especially at markets, not so much here, but in Perth, there'd be markets and there would be like sporting things, and they would have knockoff jerseys that were wrong, and I loved those. Like I've got a Detroit Red Wings 2008 Stanley Cup champions jersey when they did not win the Stanley Cup.
That's amazing.
So like those sort of things I love. Like I get so much joy from that. I do have, there's 2 more questions quickly. Okay. I do know you got a pun. If you were going into the Big Brother house, And the producers just before you went in said a player that you would get along with is going into the house, and a player that would be your mortal enemy is going into the house. Who would you pick?
Okay, first thing I said to you was that if I'm going into that house, I'm stealing the remote control. That is the first thing that I'm doing. I am stealing and disinfecting the remote control because I will be controlling what's on television in that house for sure. Okay, if there was a player that I was going to get along with, I'm going to vote for. It's not even get along with. Which player would I want? I would want Cale Makar. Because he looks like somebody who would literally, as you're cooking, come around behind you and start cleaning everything while you were going. He seems very polite. He just seems like a nice kid, like a good kid.
Yeah.
And
even if he didn't know something, he would learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Good attitude. Good attitude.
I mean, like he wouldn't be I don't know if he strikes me as the most fun. You know who else would be good? Nathan McKinnon.
See, I don't think I think he's got a bit of Crosby factor in the fact that he's boring.
I think we both love Sid, and that might evolve.
We do love Sid, but if it wasn't for hockey, we would not love Sid.
It's true. Who do I hate? Who do I hate? Who do I hate? Let me see. I mean, there's so many Canes.
I know.
Should we just pick one of the Canes?
One of the Canes.
Yeah. But I would refuse to go into.
You can't pick a Vander now because otherwise that will be a big problem. So go with Patrick.
You know what? Maybe I believe they should be in jail and they would never be invited to the Big Brother house. So I have to pick a player that I don't like, but that is just annoying. Who's annoying?
Patrick Kane did his community service when he helped on NHL.com those mums buy the popcorn machine.
True,
at the NHL store. So that was his community service.
Hear me out here. Who's that in? Do you watch Star Wars?
Yes.
Okay, I don't all that much, but in the series ones where Natalie Portman was in it, Emperor Palpatine or whatever, Kane has serious Palpatine hair, like that.
Oh my god!
And I can't. Every time I look at Kane, that's all I see. It's all I see.
I'm putting that on Twitter after this is done. A side by side of that.
Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
I think you're pretty right, so I just want to see it. I think it's going to be turns out it was based on him the whole time.
I would not be surprised. I think he's slowly morphing into him. So,
yeah.
Those are my picks then, I guess.
Right, Patty. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good one. I think for people I'd want, I know it's a Penguin, but I think Patrick Hornquist would be a fun person to be around. Yeah. You know he drinks like a Viking. Sure.
Yeah.
But I also don't
think he'd be a good barbecuer too, so you'd be covered there.
Yeah. And I don't think he doesn't seem like a very drama, like when obviously reality TV shows, I don't watch that. They've just rebooted it here and I'm just like, why are we trying this again? But anyway, Big Brother, that is. And I'm sure this Jeremy who wrote this in probably likes Big Brother, so I'm just shitting all over.
Is everybody not living an episode of Big Brother right now? We're literally trapped in our houses with
Hey, we can go to a pub as long as there's not more than 20 people in it. So
we can't. I can't go to a coffee shop and get a takeout coffee.
Oh, it goes up to 100 people tomorrow. No, Saturday.
Really?
So, yeah.
You're enlightened.
We can cross some borders as well. Look at us go.
Not cool. Yeah. Not New Zealand though.
No. Well, they're going to open up a travel thing between us, so we can go there and they can come here eventually. That's once we get all of Australia open, because Western Australia or Perth does not want to open up for the rest of Australia. I think secretly they're trying to saw the country off Looney Tunes style and just be their own thing.
Since the last time we spoke, I did my Australia research, and I kind of like that Perth area.
It's good. I mean, that's where I lived for ages. It's a good spot. It's a bit isolated for the rest of Australia, but it is really good.
Yeah, sounds good.
And it's great weather, beaches. The time zone's pretty good for hockey too. The game started at 11 in the morning, or if it's on the west, it's 2 in the afternoon.
That's amazing. Yeah. They had me at no humidity.
There's there is some humidity. If it rains in summer, even if it spits a little bit, the next 3 days are going to suck. But it's not often.
Okay, lie to me, Brenton. Lie to me.
It's rare. Like you'll be like, oh, this, I'm just staying in aircon for the next 3 days.
Well, at least you have aircon. I'm in the UK.
Aircon
no
is
air
every. You know how like there's some places that like it's mandatory to have heating in Perth. It's mandatory to have air conditioning everywhere.
Okay. All right.
Mandatory.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this. Now I just need to get a job. Make it happen.
Yeah. I don't know. How do you feel about being a Subway sandwich artist?
A Subway sandwich artist. Well, you lost me at artist. You had me at sandwich. You lost me at artist.
I don't think the art thing is compulsory by the judge of their which by the way, I think they're the worst takeaway of all. I don't eat much takeaway as much now, but like I think Subway's the worst of them all.
That's pretty. Here in the UK, they are obsessed with KFC.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, which I don't get. But then I ordered it the other day because all the other chicken places are not open and running, and I was like, it's not that bad.
Oh, okay. I mean, the Colonel here is pretty. Like Australian Colonel's pretty good too.
The Australian
Colonel. Yeah. It's KFC. I just call it the Colonel.
Oh, the Colonel. Yeah, no, I'm like I still call it Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is what it was way back in the day. I'm old school there. But wait, did you pick a player you hate?
I might get a bit of flack from Canadians about this. Do you know who I think's just a bit of whiny and just like Jonathan Taves?
Yeah.
I always just thought that he was like a little whiny little me, and I just feel like he'd be like, get your foot off the couch. Like I just feel like he'd be going full Karen in the Big Brother house. And Hornquist and I would just be like, whatever. Jonathan is like, no, call me John. Everyone calls me John. I didn't like that.
I can see that. Yes, he does seem like the type that like irons everything.
Oh yeah, and enjoys it too. Like I feel like he has that cheesy grin on his face of just like that. There's no other place I'd rather be than right here while ironing his polo shirt to play golf.
Yes, and you know what? I know his tan is probably real, but it feels like a fake tan to me.
Yeah, I mean, he always goes to Canada for like 3. Oh no, I guess it is in summer, right?
Yeah.
I always just associate Canada as like negative 50 degrees at all times because I've just never been there in summer.
Oh.
So I just don't think they have a summer there.
Oh, it's like, it's either really cold or incredibly humid and hot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the other thing about Perth. It never gets into the minuses. Got to 0 once.
All right. Get me a ticket. I'm on my way.
Lost their mind when that hit to 0. And I was like, I come from Canberra. It gets to -10 there. It's fine.
You posted snow. Was that like recently?
Oh, that was at Thredbo, yeah. So they're opening up the snowfields because again, like you can start to cross borders soon. So they're opening up snowfields next week. But my brother, he runs a hospitality business, so he said, I'm doing a drop off at Thredbo where they're opening, but like he's like the snow there, it's just not open. So like, do you want to come up and keep me company? And so, yeah, Kat and I got in and we drove for 2 hours and we got out. And while he was working, we threw snowballs at each other and ran in the snow for like an hour.
That's awesome.
It was actually really good.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that you guys are like opposite seasons then.
Yeah, I got a lot of DMs of like, where are you that it's snowing? It's like, Australia, it's our winter. Yeah. See, I always think playoffs is like, because everyone's like, the ice is melting. And I'm like, why is the ice melting? It's, right. It's because we're in Florida and it's 100 degrees. I see how that works. Anyway, I know that you've got to punt. You've got things to do, but thank you so much for coming on. I'll give you a moment to sort of plug your wares, I guess, and say where you're from and do all that jazz.
Are you setting me up intentionally? Because I know that you listen to our podcast. And if you listen to our podcast, you know that I don't ever remember any of the things.
I know.
We've gotten to the end of it by just saying, you know what? If you've been listening this far and you don't know how to find us, you have bigger problems. You have bigger problems, listener.
Yeah, it's misunderestimated. You can get it. I think it's pretty much everywhere. You guys on Spotify?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how we got there, but I think we are. I don't know how we
I
got
love-
this Discord thing, but it's up there and running. Ms. Underestimated. Yeah, just if you can figure out how to spell it, you should be able to figure it out from the logo that it's us, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I'll load up your Twitter because I always forget your Twitter.
Oh, me too.
We're going to load that up because we're going to do this properly. Hockey Chick Chat.
What?
Hockey Chick Chat is
Oh,
your...
yeah, but I don't even... that's not true. I have been tweeting some stuff lately, but it's really just snark. So there's no point. You don't have to follow me.
Fine.
I wouldn't follow me.
Otherwise, yeah, Misunderestimated. It's a great podcast. It's just good. It's good. I listen to it every week. At least I say I do.
But we say we don't really talk about hockey as much as we talk around hockey. We talk about
it's like a hockey-inspired plot. Infused. Yeah. Hockey infused. Like, you know when you get those chips that are like garlic infused and you cannot taste the garlic? That is the best way to describe.
Yeah. It's like, do we like hockey players? Yes. Do we like hockey players' pets? Even more than the hockey players themselves, the answer is yes. Yeah.
It is true. It is true. They had like an NHL awards and there was like the best dog. And it was not a good dog.
No.
It's very
they're just... They steal all our ideas and then they make them bad.
Yeah. It wasn't even a good... Yeah. It just... First off, it wasn't a beagle, so strike one.
I know, right?
Strike one, because they're just the best dogs. And, it was just some, I don't know, run-of-the-mill dog that was next to a hockey player, and you're like, no, I've seen a dog before.
It's just a dog.
Yeah. It's like, it's okay, I guess. Hasn't bit anyone. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. So thank you so much, Laura. You can follow us. Go to the YouTube channel. We're actually doing really well there. Like, we're getting videos doing like 1,000 views at the moment, which I'm just kind of blowing my mind at the moment. Like, I'm just like, I woke up and it had like 500 extra views, and I was just like, when did that happen? So that's doing well. So that's It's Hockey Night. Otherwise, you can follow us. We're everywhere. If it can play an audio device, like I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Mike labels our cassette tapes and as It's Hockey Night and sends it off to the International Space Station so they can listen to us every week. I'm pretty sure we're at that level that we're just everywhere.
Straight to Elon Musk.
Straight, yeah. What do you think's playing in that Tesla in outer space? It's us.
God, I think there's so much music going on just inside his head that we can't hear.
Yeah, you really, that's a merry-go-round that you just wish stopped. But nope, the music keeps playing. You can follow myself at GoBrent yourself. Otherwise, you can write into the podcast at Hockey Night Pod or IAHNpodcast@gmail.com. And that's it, everyone. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great day. See you and bye.